We are here at Forum TV 2025 in San Francisco, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Malia Cohen, who is the state of California's controller, and you manage the fifth largest economy in the world. That is a huge job. During these times specifically, what is it like managing that kind of economy with a level of transparency?
Well, you dived right into the big fish, didn't you? So what is it like? It's an interesting experience, to tell you the truth. I tell you, every day it's a new experience. You never know what you're going to wake up to. The market, as we see, they're in total fluctuation. There's a lot of uncertainty, which is concerning to me, because when you're thinking about investments and you're thinking about the different assets in our portfolio, we want stability. We want to be able to make a plan. And so as of right now, there's so much fluctuation that a lot of people are very nervous. But the state of California has made a couple of very good, sound financial decisions well before I even got here. We've got a robust rainy day fund. We have measures that are put in place to help us to make sure that we don't overspend. We are operating coming into this budget cycle with a deficit, but we do have some pathways forward. So it is not totally bleak, but it's choppy.
And you know, the state of California has done such a great job at implementing different components of its budget to help underserved communities like housing, specifically climate change as well. What is your office specifically doing to ensure there is a level of equity in those initiatives?
Yeah, that's a great question. And your previous question too was about transparency. So when I think about transparency and I think about equity, I think about them in the same way. So the way we are making sure that the budget and the financial state of California is transparent is making sure that our reports are timely and making sure that they're accurate, right? We're following all general accounting practices, those policies. Now when it comes to equity really has to do with making sure that people are getting their fair share. So making sure that the businesses that have lobbyists and lawyers hired to advocate on their behalf, that they're getting a certain level of service, but so should people who are everyday Californians. So making sure that calls are returned, emails are returned, questions are returned, people when they're expecting a check or some kind of a disbursement, making sure that their issues are also a high A1 priority, just as well as the big corporations. So that's a little bit of what we mean when we talk about equity.
So why are those things important to you, especially during a time where we see federal leadership signing executive orders, basically releasing those accountability parameters for a lot of elected officials, some state governments even not adhering to some of those qualities that you just mentioned. So again, why is that important to you?
Well, transparency is important because if people don't know how money is flowing or how revenue is generated, let alone where it's going, then they're not making informed decisions. And these are you need to make informed decisions whether you're running your business or even your own house. So, and you think about your own personal financial situation. How does this all come together? Why is equity important? I mean, I just think about it as from a personal perspective. I want to know where all the bills are. I want to know where all the debts are, and I want be clear-eyed on where the money is coming in. So. Early in my career, I've been in the elected office about 15 years now, I really learned. First, let me say this. I was intimidated by these big budgets and these big deficits and trillions of dollars in investment, because that's not my natural place. I wasn't born knowing about this. My parents didn't sit around. They taught me, maybe like yours. They taught me save your money.
Right.
They said, you know, good credit is important. Delayed gratification, is this a need or a want?
Emergency funds.
All of that, and that is a good, solid foundation. But yet, and still, I was still intimidated when I was in charge of San Francisco's budget, and I really did think that I wouldn't be able to do it. And I saw a couple other guys doing it, and I was like, I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this. And so I began to get warmed up. And what I learned really was that when you're not paying attention to the money and that you are left off the table. So I come to this conversation because I don't want communities left behind. because they don't have access to information, or they're afraid or intimidated or feel like they should know something but actually don't know it. So for me, this is so encompassing. This is April. So April is actually Financial Literacy Month. So making sure that people know about good financial habits, like we talked about savings, but also taking it a step further. I signed on and supported policy last year that the governor signed to ensure that all graduating public high school students have a one-semester course of personal financial literacy education. And so taking it, again, a step further, elevating it, making sure that we're doing policies that are relevant to people now, but all paying attention to our future generation so that the younger kids behind us know how to manage money, good money habits, will not be intimidated when they see the ticker tape on the news, or they think about Standard & Poor, and they're thinking about all these different indexes, that they know they're able to follow this conversation. So
and even transitioning from a child into adulthood, that is a scary step, especially when you're fresh out of high school and you have to enter it. Yeah,
That's it. You're right. And remember when we were going to college, how they would throw credit cards at us, and we really thought that was freedom.
Yep, you get that letter in the mail and swipe,
or you get the university gives you a check back with
your refund check.
Your refund check. So just being mindful of the pitfalls that many young people have, that they have made, that I have made personally, that I wanted to prevent people from doing in the future.
Now, you kind of touched on this just a little bit. You mentioned a level of education, and we talked about in the household, but as far as how government works, especially when you think about something like state government, a lot of people don't understand those processes, and it's a tall responsibility to have to manage your job, but also educate people as well about what you do, how you do it, why you do it, because a lot of the times we get things in our mind and it makes sense to us, but we don't necessarily sometimes understand the role of government and how it functions. And so do you all have any programming where you all are teaching people exactly what you do?
We don't have programming in the state controller's office, but what we do have are stakeholders or partners that are in all parts of the country. Some of them are financial institutions, some of them are nonprofit organizations, but there are places where people can tap into to get that financial literacy. You can be an adult and tap into it, or you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a high school student. I mean, there are several different entry points for everyone, for every type of person. So I would encourage everyone to take a hold of their financial future, and don't be intimidated. Understand it, educate yourself. There's YouTube videos, there's Khan Academy, there's just a lot of opportunity out there, and just start gradually getting familiar.
Yeah, it's the nucleus and the lifeblood of everything we do. I definitely understand that. My last question for you, you're here at conference. Why is it so important for public officials like you to attend conferences like these?
So conferences like this are important because it's a convening. It's an opportunity for us to come together and check in and see what is happening, right? When we are talking about finance, but we can talk about DEI, we can talk about the environment, we can talk about criminal justice, police reform, public education. These are all things that we all have in common, but in different regions of the country, we're operating differently. So I'd like to know what my counterpart is doing on the East Coast and in the Midwest and in the South. And so that's why convenings like this are very important. So just to check in. And then also, it feels good to be in community with people that are living a professional experience such as your own. Whether you're elected, whether you're appointed, whether you are just serving in government in a service position, either way, there are lessons to be learned and taught. So that's why we come together.
Well, thank you so much. You are so much of an inspiration to so many people. There are a lot of young people attending conference, and so just seeing that representation is so important. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the conference.